It's been about 5 months since Apple released their most recent Apple Watch Series 6. So in this video, I want to go through our thoughts and experience with it to let you guys know if it's still worth buying. Because as we all know, we're inching closer and closer to the release date of the next Series 7 Apple Watch, which already has a bunch of leaks and rumors surrounding it. But before I get into those new leaks, let's talk about the Series 6. To be completely honest, if you're gonna compare this one to the last Series 5, then there really aren't that many differences. Yes, there's a new S6 chip, but you honestly can't notice a difference in performance or snappiness since the S5 was already pretty quick. Now in terms of the battery life, it feels pretty similar as well, lasting basically all day, only needing to be charged at night. This is actually pretty impressive because there are a couple of features that use more battery life than before. For example, there's the new always-on altimeter, which tracks your elevation and factors it into your fitness metrics even if you didn't start a workout. And then there's the even bigger deal, the always-on display that is now 2.5 times brighter when you're outdoors in bright daylight. So with these two features draining extra battery power, it's impressive that the battery life is basically the same this year. One interesting surprise change is the charging speed, which is now 20% faster than before. But I feel like a lot of people charge at night, so it's not really gonna make a difference. However, there is the new sleep tracking feature, so if you're gonna be using that feature and then charging your Apple Watch in the morning before leaving to work, then the extra charging speed can definitely help. I personally don't care much about sleep tracking, but a lot of people have been disappointed in the lack of metrics and details using the default app. So if you're interested in that, definitely use another app like Auto Sleep. In terms of the actual design of the Series 6 Apple Watch, it hasn't really changed at all. The only real differences are the two new finishes, blue and red aluminum. But other than that, you get the same old classic look, which I admit still looks very nice, but it's starting to get a bit old. Thankfully, there are some rumors of a completely new design coming soon, and I'm gonna get into that in just a minute. The only other physical difference is the sensor layout on the bottom, which houses the new blood oxygen sensor and new 3rd gen optical heart sensors. The new bottom definitely looks nice, but it doesn't really matter since neither you or anybody else can actually see it. Blood oxygen monitoring was cool when we first tested it out, and this can be life-changing for some people. But to be honest, we haven't really used or noticed this feature since our initial review. So with all of that said, after 5 months, I can now confirm that the Series 6 Apple Watch isn't much better than the last Series 5, so it's not really worth upgrading for a lot of people. It's mostly just meant for first-time Apple Watch buyers who want to get the best model. But to get even deeper, if you don't really need those specific health tracking features, then the Apple Watch SE might make more sense for you, unless you really care about the always-on display, since the SE does not have that. There is, however, one unique feature built into the Series 6, which might be a deal breaker for some people. The Series 6 packs in Apple's latest ultra-wideband U1 chip, and while it's not really doing anything right now, it can be used in the future for using and unlocking smart devices. It'll even potentially be used in the future to unlock your car, and Tesla is already adapting ultra-wideband technology to create a new auto-unlocking key fob, which is immune to relay attacks. So if you're still interested in that, then the Series 6 can definitely be worth it for you right now. Now with all of that said, we still gotta talk about the Series 7, and this is where it starts to get very exciting. Around 1.5 years ago, the Economic Daily News reported that Apple will be switching from OLED to micro LED displays in Apple Watches as soon as 2020. That obviously didn't happen, but then Bloomberg also reported on the same thing. So maybe these displays were delayed and we'll actually be getting them this year. This would be great because it's gonna further improve battery life while keeping the display nice and bright. And it actually might make the watch itself thinner, or maybe Apple can fit in a larger battery. Now, we're not really sure if the new micro LED display is coming this year, but I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. Almost a full year ago, the verifier claimed that the Apple Watch Series 7 in 2021 would feature a Touch ID sensor, which would be used to authenticate purchases and everything else. Now, if you're wondering how Apple can achieve that, they said there are two different options, either underneath the display or embedded into the digital crown. Having it under the display seems a bit far-fetched, but if you think about it, you're already tapping your Apple Watch throughout the day, so you won't really need to use your passcode anymore, and authenticating purchases would be instant as well. This would actually make a lot of sense because we've been seeing rumors of a new iPhone coming with an under-display Touch ID sensor, so it would make sense for Apple to release this new feature on both devices. On top of that, if this watch gets a micro LED display like in the previous rumor, there is going to be more room for a fingerprint sensor under the display. But if this doesn't work out, there's always the second option of building the Touch ID sensor into the crown. But it might be a bit difficult since there's already so much tech packed into it, like for using the ECG feature, for example. Now, making it even more interesting, a couple of months ago, there was a new patent application from Apple showing Touch ID actually being built into the side button instead of the crown. Apparently, it'll work just like the new Touch ID power button on the iPad Air 4, and if so, this would actually make a lot of sense for them to do. But wait, it gets even better because back in November, the famous Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo reported that the 2021 Apple Watch will be getting a completely new form factor. He didn't give us any specific details, but if we take a look at the direction that Apple is recently heading, we can get a pretty good idea of what to expect. Both the new iPads and iPhones feature flat side redesigns, and it's been rumored that Apple's next MacBooks will follow with the same design scheme as well. So it would totally make sense for the new Apple Watch to come with flat sides. And this would be perfect for building Touch ID into the side button since it would need to be completely flat. Now, other than that, Kuo also mentioned that Apple will be coming out with new innovative health management functions with the new Apple Watch Series 7, and the most rumored one is blood glucose monitoring. This has been rumored for years, but we haven't actually seen it because of how difficult it is to check blood sugar levels without the traditional method of pricking your finger. But recently, ET News reported that this feature will actually be debuting on the Apple Watch Series 7, potentially using an optical sensor to do it. Now, a lot of people are skeptical because no one really has this type of technology right now, so Apple would have to invent some totally new tech to make it happen on the Apple Watch. Apart from that, 9to5Mac had an interesting take on how Apple could add blood glucose monitoring by using a new skin tag, which is completely non-invasive. The tag is energized through an electromagnetic coupling between the tag and the reader, so the Apple Watch could theoretically adapt this type of technology. But in my opinion, I don't think Apple is going to take this approach because it would require placing these tags under the Apple Watch every single time you want to take a measurement, and that's just not the Apple way of doing things. So those are all the most recent leaks, and now we can finally answer the original question. Should you buy an Apple Watch right now, or should you wait for the new one? Well, if the Series 7 will end up getting an all-new design, which a few rumors are pointing to, and you can comfortably wait a few months until September, then absolutely wait for the Series 7. The new design will make it feel and look like a totally new Apple Watch, and you're gonna know that the design will not change for many years, so it's ultimately gonna hold its value much better in the long run. And if blood glucose monitoring is important to you, then it's definitely worth waiting to see if Apple will actually be adding this feature to the next Series 7. But if you need an Apple Watch right now, and you're not willing to pay $400 or more for an Apple Watch, then you should totally get one right now, especially the Apple Watch SE, which is an excellent deal, and we have links down in the description below to Amazon. Hopefully this video was helpful, and if it was, go ahead and tap the like button and click the circle above to subscribe for more videos like this one. Definitely check out one of those two videos right there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.